I forgot. How long has it been since you've seen me?
8, 9 years.
Well, I've had a nose job. My teeth have been capped. My were lifted. My ass was flattened, and my knees were straightened.
Brenda Vaccaro earned an Oscar nod for her role in Once Is Not Enough back in 1975. And all these years later, she still has plenty of provocative and funny things to say. She's in conversation with our Mo Rocca.
Midnight Cowboy was a sensation when it opened in 1969, the first and only X-rated movie to win Best Picture, and it helped make Brenda Vaccaro a star.
Maybe we ought to take a little nap and see what happens.
Over her long career, she's played the wife of a missing astronaut.
So even though he is far away, he is thinking about me and I am with him.
The mother of one of TV's friends.
Ma, what are you doing here?
I came to give you this and this.
Ow.
And the sister of Al Pacino's Dr. Jack Kevorkian.
I want to ask you, who do you think takes care of me?
But while this daughter of Italian immigrants was born in Brooklyn, she was raised in Dallas, Texas, where her parents opened an Italian restaurant.
Everybody's talking at me.
But she knew where she belonged. At 17, she headed back to New York to study at the famed Neighborhood Playhouse acting school. Vaccaro made her Broadway debut in 1961, and over the course of that decade would be nominated for 3 Tony Awards.
He's here, my long-awaited Lancelot.
That's Vaccaro singing in the musical How Now, Dow Jones. And then came Midnight Cowboy.
Well, I was just admiring that colossal shirt.
With Dustin Hoffman as a con man who befriends a hustler played by Jon Voight. Vaccaro is the socialite who pays $20 for his services, but they mostly end up playing scrimmage.
Now look at this here, see?
There's an E in money.
Her scene with Voight's character Joe Buck called for her to be buck naked. Vaccaro's mother was none too pleased.
I can't believe I'm seeing your breasts before I'm going to see your face in your first movie, my mother was saying. No, you won't, Mom, honestly. And, I went to Ann Roth and I pleaded with her.
And I bought this red fox coat for $200.
The movie's costume designer, the legendary Ann Roth, had Vaccaro covered, as she told Rita Braver back in 2014.
And I told Brenda not to worry, that she wouldn't have to lie there naked. How could you not fall in love with a naked girl in a fur coat?
I thought it was fabulous. And John had no clothes on. Well, maybe he had something over something.
Name, please.
Oh, you want his or mine?
I don't see you suffering.
Well, you're not looking hard enough.
Vaccaro found true love when she starred opposite a young Michael Douglas in the movie Summer Tree.
You're a smartass.
He was a handsome colt. Young colt. He was really beautiful. We just went, bingo. We liked each other very much.
Oh, yeah.
She and Douglas lived together for almost 7 years.
And I used to call him my hippy dippy, because his hair was here. Yeah. He'd been in a commune in Santa Barbara.
They even had a kind of commitment ceremony, which she calls a hippie wedding, in her agent's backyard.
Very simple. I don't think there were any rings or anything.
And was there food?
There's no such thing as hippie food, is there?
Well, I think
it's just a good joint, to tell you the truth. A nicely rolled joint. I mean, that was one thing I learned. He taught me how to roll joints that were fabulously rolled. Man, the ends were tipped. I just remember I was in love with him.
Yeah.
I loved him. He was wonderful.
Why didn't you and Michael get married?
Because at that time, it wasn't the thing to do. That was the whole hippie kind of existence,
Listen, my dear, despite women's lib, here, I'm all for it. It is still part of the female's responsibility to get the old show on the road, if you know what I mean.
In 1976, Vaccaro scored an Oscar nomination for Jacqueline Suzanne's Once Is Not Enough.
Brenda Vaccaro for Playtex tampons.
And in 1980, an especially breathy Vaccaro played herself.
Let me tell you why I like Playtex best.
In a commercial for Playtex tampons at a time when feminine hygiene products were rarely advertised on television.
Only Playtex tampons have a double-layered design. I like that.
And then that wonderful, what is her name? She's a comic.
Andrea Martin.
Yes.
I'd like to speak to you about something that means a great deal to me. Protection. Feminine protection. And I like that.
Comedian Andrea Martin parodied the ad on the sketch.
Are you good with people?
She's still acting during the pandemic in a series of plays premiering on Zoom.
You better stop hanging out with those atheist friends of yours and maybe take a trip to the cemetery once in a while.
And she's reflecting on the passage of time.
I feel as life changes and you get older, there are two things you really have to accept. One is loss, and the other is changes.